Joe Adkins joins us on the Little Caesars Hot and Ready Hotline. Now, Todd, Joe texted me during the course of the show today.
Usually when he does that, it's one of two things. It's either
it's to hate on.
It's
somebody.
either, man, Zach, you're a racist.
Yeah.
Or
we're wrong
or
about
it's
something.
You still owe me money, right?
Yeah,
it's one of
like
those
that.
two.
Yeah. But it's in reference to our Take It or Leave It, where somebody on the Take It or Leave It on the text line said, take it or leave it. If Kentucky were in the Big 12, they would have at least one loss by now. And Joe, tell the people how you responded to that.
Well, they beat the best team in the Big 12 by 40 already. So it's going to be hard to find a team. Of course, on any given night you could be beat, but just to say they would lose because they're playing in the Big 12, because these teams are not Kentucky by any means. So to base your argument on what you're seeing, these teams play each other, really has no relevance.
I get what you're saying, Joe, but I think where I kind of agree with Zach is that they had those two bad games at the start of the SEC season.
Yeah.
And against probably 8 of the Big 12 teams, they probably lose one of those games.
But they're going to be a lot more into the game if they're playing better teams. They play
you're probably
to the level
right.
of their competition. And the thing is, on bad nights in the Big 12, the size difference is the entire difference. The Big 12, basically, a lot of the better teams use a lot of undersized four-men. Well, Kentucky has extreme length, but they have guys that do the exact same things that those guys that are strength, the Tyshawn Thomases and the LeBron Nash, they're able to defend those guys. So the size advantage, a team like Iowa State may have a chance because they shoot a lot of perimeter shots. It's going to take you're going to have to hit 10 threes or more to probably beat Kentucky because you're not going to get points in the paint.
You're right about that. You're right about that. I mean, you're just going to have to shoot the lights out. And furthermore, if I were playing against Kentucky, if I were coaching, I would make them shoot threes too. Like I'm going to pack everyone in the paint, and if you beat me at the 3-point line on offense, then I'll tip my cap.
Well, the thing is, they're seeing zone, but they're not going to beat you with the jump shot. They're going to go get it off the rim.
Another reason why I would have 5 people packed in the paint. I mean, I'm going to have every chance to get a rebound, even if I am outsized.
Well, that's true. And Zach, please know that you're not the first coach that came up with that strategy. Please know that's not one there that no one's tried yet.
That's not a Coach McCrite special?
Yeah, no. You won't be pulling the wool over anyone's eyes.
That is a shocker, really. As intelligent as I am, that is a shocker. All right. Well, then what happened? Since you got all the answers here, what happened?
Well, I didn't say I have an answer.
Well, I said you do. I said you do.
You can't say what happened, Zach. That could be about what happened with Russell Wilson throwing a pick, what happened in Bedlam, what's happening to the Thunder.
Yeah, what happened during your Super Bowl party? That's what I really want to know. No, what happened? I mean, the Pokes had the lead, and then they didn't. What happened?
Well, I mean, if you recall, I actually picked the Sooners to win the game. So.
Well, not without talking.
I'm not good.
Without talking.
Well, of course. Yeah. But at the game, I didn't really realize the game. Now seeing it, I mean, they were right there for the win. But the thing is, you had a decent first half. Oklahoma really didn't play very well. So Oklahoma State, they had a chance to kind of extend the lead a little bit, but they weren't able to get out up 7 at the half. They could have been up a little more, but they were playing pretty well. But Zach, 54 points. You're not going to win against good teams with 54 points. I mean, even if you play a good half of basketball, I mean, they scored, 20? I think they get 24 in the second half. And although OU didn't have a great offensive explosion, but, they're going to score 30 points in a couple halves. It's going to be hard to keep them in the 20s because they can score so much. And the disadvantage, because, as I said, the size of Oklahoma's guards, it, it bothers me, and just the way the game was played. once Michael Collins went out with 4 minutes to go, I kind of thought it was game. You kind of could see it. OU just kind of took over the game.
Well, why him? Why him? If it's such a guard thing, why him? Just because of a rim protector?
He's the anchor of that defense.
Right.
And then Thomas got to going in the paint. Spangler made 2 buckets.
Right.
They started to get key rebounds and things like that. So you need him on the floor, but they got to do something offensive. They're playing. In my opinion, they play way too slow. I mean, they're playing at a turtle's pace, and they're screwing the games down. But they have really good athletes. So I don't know to make those athletes succeed playing that style of basketball. Because when you do that, you run a lot of plays and you put the ball in 2 guys' hands and you allow them to make the plays, which is great. Very similar to the Oklahoma City Thunder, what you're doing. But the Oklahoma City Thunder have guys that can hit you for 30 points apiece. So you can do that when you're going to get a huge amount of points from those 2 guys. With Phil Forte and LeBron Nash, they're getting about 35 points combined, 36. Well, if your 2 best players, you got to figure the other players are going to get 20 to 25 points probably. That's only 60 points, 61 points. So if you're going to play like that, those guys have to get huge numbers. And then when they go against a team like Oklahoma, and when you get in conference play, people are so familiar with you that it's harder to score. So for the sets that they run, I mean, people know how to defend those. So, if Phil Forte and LeBron Nash don't have a good night, they really are going to struggle to score the basketball. And Phil Forte, although he had some points, he really never got in a really good rhythm, or did Nash, so they couldn't score. And that's where they had the problem.
Joe, a couple things. Number one, I agree with what you're saying. And to be honest with you, I thought Travis Ford was going to play more up-tempo. That's what he did at UMass. And it's kind of weird that he's done a complete 180 with Oklahoma State. But as far as Bedlam goes on Saturday, what were your thoughts on LeBron? I know a lot of people had disappointing games, but on LeBron Nash's game, was in and out of foul trouble, 5 of 13, only 3 rebounds, and 12 points in the ballgame.
Yeah, well, the thing is, and that's the thing, he can't get in foul trouble. He and Cobbins and those guys, because they're not very deep, sometimes you have to just let the guy score a basket or just stick your hands up, and if he makes it, he makes it. Because their value, I mean, they're most guys, like a Cobbins say, yeah, with other teams, his value may not be as high because he's not a scorer. But because he does so many other things that other guys don't do, he has to be on the floor. And the same thing with LeBron Nash because of his skill set and the way they play. But when he goes out, now all the pressure moves to Phil Forte. So now with only one guy on the floor, they're much more easier to cover. And you have some guys like a Shine, Garrett, Newberry. They hit some shots, but they haven't been consistent. And I think that's why you see the struggles. I don't think he wants to play, Coach Ford wants to play that slow, but those other guys have got to start playing better. But I think speeding up tempo would help those guys play better.
Averaged 82 a game his last year at UMass. Travis Ford.
I like their athletes, and I thought they were going to be. I thought he was a guy that really liked to get after the defensively and press, extend their pressure more. But I don't know if they have the depth that he really likes, and I'm not in practice, so I can't say. But yeah, the 82 points and the way they play, I thought we would see more of that now because it's a lot of his guys now. And they have some size and length, and they have some players that can fit that mold, but I guess they just can't put it together.
One other quick number, Zach, before you get to your next question, and this is recipe for disaster when you have this. The Cowboys on Saturday, 16 turnovers, 5 assists as a team.
Wow.
That's not the best ratio there.
Wow, you don't say. Joe Adkins with us. Well, we're going to go over with Joe Adkins. Are you through with the Thunder? I mean, what's the deal here? I mean,
it's tonight a must-win, Joe.
Can you give the fans out there any sort of silver lining, like that this will turn around? Give them some hope. Come on, give them hope.
Mean, the thing is, when they lose, we act like it's the end of the world. If they were 30-10 right now, they probably would have lost that game the other night. Memphis is a good team. They're not going to win every game just because you won 3 years ago or for the past 3 years. I mean, this is a new season. They're going to have to turn it around, but Memphis is a good team. All good. I heard you reel off the teams Portland lost to. Well, all those teams are good teams. That's why they lost.
Right.
They're not losing to a lot of bad teams. You're not going to lose to bad teams. But
well, the Knicks. But other than that,
of course. Well, everybody has a flop.
You're right.
I mean,
you're right.
everybody's going to have that. So you want to, because of where they're at right now, we tend to panic. But as I keep saying, in a minute they're going to spend so much time at home, everything is going to work itself out. So if they can just stay at bay and stay between 2 games and 4 games, they're going to be right there at the end because they're going to hit that home stretch. And, yeah, they're going to play some good teams, but they're good when they're at home. So it's just going to balance itself out. So you would think that with Phoenix, they're going to go on the road. They're going to hit some spurts where they're going to have to play more road games. The Thunder's back end is just it's home game heavy. So that's to their benefit because now you can start playing well. We'd say, oh, well, the Thunder won 9 out of 10. Well, if they're playing 8 games at home, that's not easy. That's not going to be very difficult for them. So that's going to bring confidence. So towards the end of the year, I expect them to start playing better and the atmosphere to change around here.
All right, one more syllable from Joe Adkins. That's it. One more syllable. True or false, the last play by the Seahawks was a terrible play. Play call.
Oh, come on, Zach. I think everybody knows it. Oh, sorry, true. I only had one.
Yeah,
Zach thinks it's false, Joe. So
yeah. You want?
That's my reaction exactly.
Well, first
and
off,
everyone that's listening, same reaction.
Zach.
First off, as bad as you might think my opinion is, guess what? Your ability to follow directions is worse. See you later, Joe. Bye.
All right, man.
All right, man. Joe Adkins on Little Caesars Hot and Ready Hotline.